Here we go. And we
Hey, buddy.
are on with Jackson. There we are.
Are we live?
We're live, dude. We're live. We go all in, dude. We start from the jump, man. How you been, dude?
Dude, I'm trying to freaking.
Is it not working?
Oh boy.
It's always technical difficulties while we're on here. But what's up, everybody? It's Dave Drakes with the Collective Experience. We are back for another TCE SX Supercross live watch party. Round 6, Glendale. Super stoked. This is going to be freaking phenomenal. I'm amped. As always, this guy's a staple. He might as well just have, TCE tattooed across his forehead. It's the one and only Mr. Jackson. What's up, dude?
What's up, Collective Experience? We can talk about logo placement if you want. My body is for sale.
I love that. And you guys know him as team principal for a Creo race team, which is probably one of my favorite teams in the pits. He's a designer. He's a fashion model. He's an icon. The term BDE came from this very man. It's the one, the only Jeff Crutcher. What's up, dude?
I'll take my round of applause now. Thank you. Hey, is there a way to do to where I can adjust my background on Riverside? Because I know how to do it.
I don't know. Jackson put me on the Riverside. I have no idea. I'm going purely on just recommendation from Jackson.
I mean, it looks a lot cooler whenever I have these, badass backgrounds than a plant, a Harley Davidson cup, and our laundry, but it's all good.
I like it. I thought that was a custom background. I thought it looked cool.
I love it. Guys, we are here for round 6. I'm freaking stoked. This is probably one of my favorite tracks on the season that isn't an East Coast round. The floor plan, is just huge. The lanes are they're massive. I love this place. I'm sure you guys both do too. We've got heat number 1 for the 450s out right now. We got Ken Roxon out front ahead of one Malcolm Stewart, who is, let's face it, not having the best season. He's letting us down, and by us, you know who I mean, a little bit this season. But I feel like he's going to rally and come back. I'm super stoked for this one. Guys, for you guys that don't know, Jackson is probably one of the most influential people when it comes to the Moto Academy crew. He's pretty much all things social and gets things kicked off that way. If you see in any cool posts, don't thank AJ, thank Jackson. And Mr. Crutcher is probably by himself making one of the most cool interactive teams that are in the paddock area, which I try to emulate Crutcher, and I owe him so much from content to merch to everything else. This guy's a jewel. And as always, we are brought to you by some amazing sponsors, the guys over at FXR Moto. We thank them for their contributions, their support. We thank Evans Power Coolant, Flow Vision Goggles. You'll never see me on the track without Flow Vision Goggles. EVS, Crutcher knows all about those guys. They keep us kitted and fitted and looking really good on the track and protected. It's better than that. Overshare Advice and Planning. We thank those guys, as well as Speed and Sport Adventure Tours. Guys, what do you think about this season so far? It's been kind of up and down. I know we're watching heat number 1 in the background, but Crutcher, I'll start with you, man. Like, what's been your take on the season so far?
It's as a fan, it's been extremely interesting to watch. And I, like everybody else in the industry, am rooting against Jet Lawrence. I'm not for it. The whole dude, like the VIP thing that they're doing. I think it's extremely out of touch with the reality of the industry. I haven't heard anything good about it. I think that whenever they did the McGrath style, not bobblehead, but that big like cartoon head thing, dude, it's just like, I get it. Like, there's certain things you can do to like pay homage. And they're not doing that. They're doing it because I think they're trying to set the tone of, Jet is the next, MC, and I keep reading the 70 to go comments that people make, and I kind of agree with it. So I want to see other guys win, and the 250 class, it's exciting and everything, but let's be honest, we all watch because of the 450 class. And I'm ready for Kenny to get his first win. I love Malcolm's in second right now in this heat with 1:48 to go. I think that some of these guys are due for a first time win, and then I want to see a couple other guys get their second win, like Sexton. I'm ready for Eli to get his first win also, but there's some dudes that are definitely up to shake up the podium, and I'm excited to see it. I don't want it to just be a one rider show, and I certainly don't want it to be the Lawrence brothers, which I know is kind of a hot take with our audience here, but it is what it is. That's just how I feel.
There's some good points in there. What do you think, Jackson?
I honestly, I don't think that is a hot take. Like my world in the Moto Academy is all things social media. So I'm pretty tuned into the angry old man Moto Twitter, which, I mean, you're right there with them with that take. Like, that seems to be what everybody wants. And I feel like the sport is kind of starved for a star. And I feel like they think that's kind of what's going to take them to the next level. To be honest, I feel like we're more than a few things away from that being reality. But I think that you're right in line with how most real core fans feel about the sport as far as Jet Lawrence is concerned. For myself, my attitude towards it is I know I don't put any of that on the brothers and on the kid himself. It's a good kid. I've got to meet him and spend a bit of time around him and his family and that, and I understand their background. But the kids and the family themselves and the machine that is trying to make them what they're trying to make them are two very separate entities. And I understand the frustration with the one, and I always get kind of disappointed and sad at our sport in general when it gets carried over to the riders and the family itself, if that makes sense.
To that
I mean,
point,
I'll wear the cape. I'm caping for him. I'm caping for him.
I'll say, Dave and Jackson, I'll share this with you also. I've got some off-air stuff that I'd be happy to talk to you guys about regarding the brothers and stuff that's coming from their camp that I think it's a little different than most people realize. What's really going on behind the scenes. And to your point, there is a machine there. Dude, Benny on this beta, he's trying to ride that bike so goddamn hard, dude. I know it's
he really is.
It's being close with him, as you guys see, he's from Missouri. And again, I'm not trying to overshare anything, and this is just what I've gathered is that it's a new bike, it's a new team. Well, it's a new team. To say it's a new team isn't correct, because Brian White Racing and Carlin Gardner, they've been, operating for God knows how many years. I think that everybody's feeling the pressure of what a factory effort actually is. And I know that Benny, they're working around the clock to try and improve the motorcycle to where him and John Short, and then also now that Nichols is back on the bike, although he's just riding, he's not ready to race yet. But I know that they're trying to do a lot, and I can sympathize with them being kind of, we'll call it upstart right now, and the hurdles that you have to go through, and not having just an unlimited budget. Sure, it's a factory team, but it's beta, right? It's not like we're talking about Honda, or as if I'm trying to think of just like a large manufacturer. If Ford got into motocross or Chevrolet got into motocross and they started building a dirt bike, they have unlimited money. That's not the case with beta. So right now I think that it's really cool, because we're seeing Beta and Triumph kind of juggle this, who's going to be the first new manufacturer to really take off, and they have different approaches where one is 450, one is 250, and then as we know, Ducati's going to come in sooner than later also, and I'm so thrilled for that.
What do you think was the better decision out of the two, to go 250 your first year, 450 your first year?
Well, that's the thing for Beta. I don't think that they make a 254 stroke.
Right.
So I think their hands were kind of tied on that. So to develop a 254 stroke, I got to turn the volume off on this over here. To develop a 254 stroke takes a lot. And I know that the Triumph has been in development for over 6 years. Yeah. So the fact that it's been as hush hush as it was for as long as it was is extremely impressive. They've got a lot of really good employees that are capable of keeping their mouth shut, and their vendors too. That's how I know about it, as one of their vendors that was helping them develop stuff, and they've been a part of that development for 6 years now.
It's actually amazing in this day and age that someone was able to keep a bike under wraps for that long.
Right.
Like, that's pretty incredible. Yeah. You think of how fast information moves now, and how small, in the grand scheme of things compared to other sports, how small our industry is. Everybody knows everybody. There's not a lot of secrets, and for them to it was a month before those YouTube videos started dropping. I think we had one blurry photo of a black bike on a test track. Like, it was amazing. Yeah. Honestly, hats off to them that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
Dude, Dave, you gotta love the freaking flip phone video on that thing. I was like, dude, you couldn't get like a decent iPhone photo. It had to be like a 2007 Razor Special.
Yeah, it's like
okay. So I agree, dude. I mean, I've been in product development with motorcycles for big OEMs, small startups, and at 100%, it's super difficult to be able to keep something like that under wraps. I mean, even something as small as a wheel change for like a Harley, people were sharing those photos and hyping up that small stuff for just changing a spoke design, so a whole motorcycle sort of platform. That's incredible, especially for that amount of time. That's hats off to them. They must have had some really diehard people who were like ride or die to keep those secrets.
Okay. So Jackson, let me ask you this, your take on this kind of I don't know if you guys are old enough or if you saw it, but back in the day, I believe the last people to do it was Trans World, is where they would do the Japanese national spy photos. And before that, Dirt Rider was always huge with that. Yeah. But now in the digital age, the spy photo thing, it's not relevant because social media gets, it's like all you need is a cell phone to take a quick pic. And on that note, do you think that it was in Triumph's strategy? Or, for example, I remember a couple years ago, whenever the photo got leaked of the new era KTM, and it was that kind of sandy, muddy, random Euro guy that nobody knows who it was. It just was random Euro guy on a bike, and it was obviously a screen cap of a video that had been shared on WhatsApp, and the compression rate, it was very obvious that, somebody saw or recorded something that wasn't maybe supposed to be out there. Or, and I think this is where you can chime in, this is my big lead in here, is that a tactic that is intentional? It's same thing of intentionally misspelling things in videos, or stating bad information.
I was going to bring that up.
That people can't resist from chiming in and being like, really fucking, this is it? Is this shitty ass video? Or come on, dude, the capital of New Mexico is not Flagstaff. Everybody knows that, and it's just that kind of stuff. So is that a tactic that's built in? Are these, are the marketing companies and the relations companies for these brands, are they starting to realize, a la Triumph, hey, the best thing that we can do is the worst picture possible?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past any of them. Smart. I mean, especially when you're trying to, because that's the hard thing when stuff starts to leak, is that if you lose control of the conversation. And so giving them something that's not something is a way to still control the conversation, but allow it to happen organically. And I mean, I'm just going to go on the record and say that if I've ever misspelled anything in a video, from now on, I'm going to say it was intentional and we're teasing something. And something is coming down the pipeline. And you're going to be very excited. And I would love to hear any guesses as to what that is also, to give me some ideas too. Right, Dave?
I think that is such a good strategy. And there's times where, like, you know, the common misspelling of your, like, without the apostrophe and the E at the end. And I see that and I just want to fucking, it's YOURE, you know, it's like my stupid monkey brain is like, you got to get in there and you got to correct them and let them know that they're wrong. And it's such an interesting social strategy to release content that is intentionally triggering to, like, these things that we have in us where it's like, hey, I can be right here, you know?
Yeah. There's an interesting, something happened a few years ago with Nike. Cause you know, Nike's whole business plan is supply and demand. They re-release these shoes in colorways all the time and not enough of them out there for everybody to get a pair. But a few years ago, they put out the shoe. It wasn't getting a lot of hype. It wasn't getting a lot of interest. It was sitting on some shelves. A guy ordered them and he ended up receiving them, and the swoosh on the side was backwards. And he posted online and it blew up. It was everywhere. He ended up listing them for sale on eBay. They sold for over 10 grand, like immediately. And then a year later, the Travis Scott collaboration Jordans came out and they were all the reverse swoosh on the side of the shoes. And I've always wondered, like, to that effect, it's like, you know, Nike's game plan forever is just, you know, we reissue these shoes every year, you know. Let's throw a mistake out there. Let's see how that reacts. And then everybody loved it. It blew up. And then they're like, oh, yeah, well, Travis Scott, his name is on this shoe now. The swoosh is backwards. So, yeah, I mean, I never really put faith in companies to ever not have some kind of motive.
Yeah. And to that point, like, I can imagine their marketing department or their relations people just sitting there and being like, what if we put the swoosh on backwards? Imagine how pissed people would get. And it's like, how do you not do that, you know, at some point? And, you know, I'll say there's been times where I've done stuff with, like, the schemes of my motorcycles, or now that I'm designing our gear also, where I do it and I'm like, I know that people are going to hate this. A perfect example is whenever I had the EVS support kit in Lebanon, Missouri, that was all built around their 20% off for Christmas sale. And I started out, I was like, oh, I want to make a Christmas themed bike. And then I got to thinking about it and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I did, like, made the bikes look like it had wrapping paper on it. And then I was thinking, dude, what if I did every piece of plastic in a different wrapping paper? And some of that is nostalgic for me, because, and my sister and I have talked about this ad nauseum, and it comes up every year because my fiance's family, they're very intricate over their gift wrapping, and, like, they do themes every year, and it's really nice paper. Dude, they legitimately save their paper off of boxes. They don't rip it open. But my sister and I, dude, my mom was, what is the most random, ugly, like, foil, like, chrome, trashy, how many different types of patterns can I get? And so I kind of took that and I was like, well, I'm going to do that to the motorcycles, because the whole point is to get last minute shoppers. And I was thinking, well, who are the last minute shoppers that I can attract? And we all know who's putting the wrapping paper on the presents. Mom. Okay. Well, I was like, well, I'm going to build a bike that the moms are going to notice and that the moms are going to look at, and the racers are going to hate it. And dude, the number of guys that were like, dude, these fucking bikes are so ugly, but I can't stop looking at it. And then the number of moms that came over at the races and they were like, these bikes are so cool. I've never looked at a dirt bike before. Like, you know, they're like, I'm surrounded by dirt bikes at the races and I never actually look at them. And this one lady went on about it and she was like, this is so cool to see. And she was like, I never would have looked at this bike had it not been for that. Then additionally, one of our team partners that they were trickling the idea. Well, I'll just tell you who it was. It was Rabaconda with their 3-minute tire changer, which is an amazing product. So the marketing director from Rabaconda, he called me and he was like, Jeff, and Jackson used to work at EVS, and he was like, Jeff, these EVS, they're hideous. He was like, it's the ugliest bike I've ever seen. And I was, and I was like, I know. How sick was it? And he was like, dude, every time I looked at the bike, I found something new that I didn't like about it. And I was like, good. And he was like, and you know what? I caught myself zooming in on all the fucking pieces of plastic just to see if I could hate it anymore. And he was like, and then I realized that your whole master plan worked and that I was subject to your whole marketing gimmick and your whole plan to try to get people to look. So, and he ended up, that turned into, you know, me sealing the deal with Rabaconda. That was, I mean, it was an idea. And then once he saw, you know, what I'm capable of doing with that, he bought into it. So anyway, that's, you know, we kind of got off on a little thing there.
It's funny because
awesome.
Every time Dave Drakes builds a bike, he's always just trying to get the mom's attention.
That's it, dude. That's all that matters.
So to that point, in all of Supercross last year, Dave, you were at New Jersey, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's right. You were pitted. No, you worked out of our trailer because AJ was right like this.
Was right next. Yeah, Jackson was there too.
That's right. Yeah. So okay, so anyway, at that race is whenever we had the blue polka dot bikes for Dirt Bike Vault. And
I remember
they were mean. They were mean.
Yeah.
These two, I'm going to say they were either Taiwanese or Filipino, but these two moms that didn't know anything
got Jackson's attention
about Supercross. They came over and they were taking.
I remember those moms.
Yeah, they were taking photos of their bikes, dude. And like, you know, they're taking photos of the bikes, and I was like, no, get in here. Like, I'm gonna have you guys sit on the bikes. Do you remember me getting those chicks on the bikes? So I get these moms on their bikes, dude, and they hand me their phones, and it's all not English. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't in English. And it was like Snapchat, but it was something totally different. And I'm just taking a bunch of photos of them.
WeChat.
It could have been.
I was going to say WeChat, yeah.
It could have been, yeah. So anyway, the one, you know, I was taking all these photos, and then the one girl got off of the bike, and then I was snagging the other one's photos, and she got off, and she came over, and she was like, my kids are walking around. I don't know where they are. She was like, I don't know anything about Supercross, but it can't get any cooler than this. And I was like, oh, thank you very much. She was like, no, really, like, cool. I think this is going to be the coolest thing I'm going to do all year. And I was like, wow. And she was like getting all teary-eyed over it. I was like, how sick is this, dude? All I had to do was just invite these ladies in to sit on these bikes and give them this experience.
Experience it.
And the best part was the best part of the whole exchange is whenever it was done, she walked away, and then she turned around. She said, hey, you be sure to tell your boss what a good job you do. And I said, thanks. I'll let him know.
Thanks. I'll let him know. Speaking of good job, we have another guest that just popped on. Finally, she was being a prima donna. She had to get her makeup crew together, and she had to get off with, Jimmy Fallon for a little while, and finally make her star-studded entrance after all the camera flashes went off. It's JDays' very own photographer, and if you're in New England, I'm sure she's number one in your hearts. It's Kylie Kulpa. What's up, Kylie?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good.
Well, you're on with a bunch of knuckleheads, so I hope you're ready for a night of debauchery and good racing and a lot of inside knowledge that I'm sure you've already been clued into, but you're going to get it anyway.
Perfect.
Hey, Kylie, you're doing, did I hear him say correct that you do the photography for JDay?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Have you heard about the engine ice bottleneck?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I hope I'm not blowing this up right now. But so I know that Engine Ice and JDay are working on something or secured a deal. I'm not sure entirely. Keaton, who is the social media manager for Engine Ice, called me, and Keaton's a really good buddy of mine, and we're always rapping about ideas. And he was like, "Dude, we want to do something unique with JDay," and I was like, "Dude, you need to do, because it's so hard to get photos of like banners in the woods, right?" So I was telling him, I was like, "Dude, what you need to do is you just need to print out big not cardboard, but like that like political signs that people put out in their front yards." I was like, just print out a bunch of those that are huge, strap them to trees in a point where the track really narrows down, and, tongue in cheek, call it the Engine Ice bottleneck, where everybody has to pass through these two bottles or between these two bottles. And then that gives you the opportunity to take photos of their banners and then all the riders going through it. So be on the lookout for that. I hope I didn't fuck that up for them entirely. I don't think that I did, but that was something that that was
I'm pretty sure we have like 30,000 people listening live, right, Dave? So they definitely
obviously, dude. That's, I mean, per second, they're just railing in,
pouring in. Yeah. Well, since Kylie joined us, they just
once Kylie joins, it's over. Yeah, dude, there's so many people now because of her. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to the TCSX live watch party around 6. We do these just about every weekend that we're not at the races, where you guys can get a chance to talk and chat live with us and interact with some of our guests and co-hosts, being Mr. Jackson himself. You guys get a chance to ask some industry questions to pro riders, team managers, industry professionals, you name it. We want to hear your questions. We want to chat with you. Going over to the chat, I want to say a huge shout out to two people that we know very intimately and well. It's Aaron Cole and the Tyler McAdams, two huge supportive of our program, alumni themselves. So we want to shout those guys out. Shout out to Ben, Dr. Greg, everyone that's been interacting in the chat. We appreciate you guys. The CEO, Mr. PG himself. Want to make sure that you guys are feeling welcome. Ask us the questions. And don't forget, guys, in the description, we have some promo codes for you guys to save big on things like FXR, Flow Vision goggles, Evans Power Coolant, Overshare Advice and Planning and their services, as well as Speed and Sport Adventures and so much more. We thank you guys for the support. We want to make sure that you guys get hooked up big time. Use those codes below. We just had heat number 2 for the 450s. AP's running away with this thing. My first take on the year so far when it comes to AP, this guy has had a resurgence. I don't know if he found a setting. I don't know if he's more comfortable with the team, but he looks like ever since he had like that one solid, like consistent ride and then got a win, he's been on a tear. I love to see it. The dude's super cool. The fans go absolutely bonkers for this guy. I mean, he came out in Detroit a week ago or 2 weeks, whatever it was, and people went crazy for him. Also, I'm becoming a very big Jason Anderson fan. I have seen some clips of this dude riding and flat tracking around the corners last weekend, flowing through corners, and the way that he just rides the bike and almost feels like his lower half is attached to that rear wheel. I'm becoming a very big Jason Anderson fan. I want to hear what you guys think, though. Kylie, we'll start with you. What's been your take so far on the AP thing, and who you like in this season that stuck out to you?
I really like that Aaron Plessinger is really getting up there now, and because in the past he's had some problems, but it's nice to see him up front and winning a bunch now.
I agree. I like that. Did anyone else kind of catching your eye as they're making this foray into the middle of the season?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Not like Jet Lawrence. You're not going to scream and toward your hair for Jet.
I mean, sure, because he's like close to my age, but I don't know. There's a lot of drama with it.
Okay, I dig that.
We talked
I know
about
Jackson
that before you came on.
Yeah. I know Jackson's his McAdoo after last weekend, dude. I know he's been drooling all week long with content and just like, oh my god, did you see the video?
Yeah, everybody's talking about the Drake leak, and I'm like, bro.
Have you seen the McAdoo leak?
Yeah, the McAdoo leak is where it's at. Did anybody
Dude,
like? I'll be
that,
honest,
by the way,
did any-
that whole thing is cracking me up because everyone's been like, dude, that guy's got a freaking leg on him, huh? And I'm like, and me and like every other black guy I know is like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? We're like, dude, really? is this what's big out there in the wild? Is what they're on? Dude,
Yeah,
me and Manny were like, oh, that's cute.
I was the same way. I was like, yeah, average at best. She said she's close to Jet's age. Kylie, how old are you? I just want to make sure before this chat goes any further.
I'm 21.
Okay, Jesus, Dave, you scared me. She said she's close to Jet's age, and then you're just piping off about. Well,
no, Kylie, yeah, she's 21. She's like my adopted stepsister at this point. So
adopted, eh? What gave it away? Did anybody have Plessinger like on their short list this year for being where he's at right now? I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't at all.
No. If anything, I thought this was like a deciding year for him. Like, this dude might not have that ride next year kind of like deal, you know? But like now I'm like, dude, they'd be stupid not to re-sign this guy for another like 2-3 years just off of popularity and like the amount of hype he's getting alone. It's wild. What do you think, Crutcher?
Hey, he's the people's champ. You know, he's the modern day Brad and Damon Bradshaw.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
You know, everybody likes it. And I mean, he's the kind of dude, if we had 10 Aaron Plessingers, and I don't mean just like rednecks, but like 10 people that were that easily accessible, relatable. Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, let's be honest. Our sport needs more blue collar workers and less training facility kids.
Yes.
Because let's be honest. How many people can relate to training facility kids that are asking for, you know, you to send a couple dollars to their fund my race, and you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry are like OG T-Mac. They're up to here in fucking sewage lines, and it's like, oh yeah, let me give this kid half of my hour's worth of wages for him to sit on his ass at a training facility, and I'm just breaking my back out here, and that's who I'm supposed to cheer on. Whereas it's like, dude, AP earned his stripes at GNCCs in the roots and the mud, and everybody knows that. And his old man was one of the greatest off-road dirt bike riders of all time. So it's and he's from fucking Ohio. Like, what is there not to love about all that? Whereas it's like, you know, some of these other kids, like, you know, I mean, I'm looking down the listing here, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of training facility kids here, you know, and then there's everybody's hero, Billy Laninovich, which DNS. I hate to see that. I wonder what happened with him, but it's.
I think they jammed him up because his AARP card ran out, and they wouldn't let him park. He tried to park in his spot, but they were like, "You can't be parking there." Anyway, don't you feel that
they kept calling his number, and he kept saying, "What?"
Yeah.
What? He phoned you. He tried to pull it up on his phone, but the font was like the size of the whole screen, and he couldn't find the sign-up link. Don't you feel that the sport at the 450 level, it already weeds out the factory kids, like as far as like race winners and champions go?
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's yeah, you know, a perfect example, we could point at like Weston Pike, or you know, I see a lot of these guys that like Rod Bell. I've seen his Loretta's results, and he was a nobody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these guys that growing up, they were nobodies. They were in it, they existed, but they weren't training facility kids, and they weren't rich kids or anything like that. They just grinded their way to the top. But I would agree with that. I think that I don't know. I'm not a big fan of training facilities, which is a funny thing to say because I've got two of my riders at one right now. But that's just, my personal
I think they have their place, but as far as I still don't think that they've been proven to work.
Yeah.
Like if you take something like, I mean, the effect that Alden Baker had on the sport in treating the athletes like athletes, and that shift and what he's done, it only works with, to me anyway, I could be way off. It seems to really only work with the people that already have it. They just have to put those other pieces together. Yeah. I can't really think of the last one that came, like a 250 kid that came out of the Baker program that excelled through the Baker program. Like, I feel like that's why, even like we were talking about AP, like worried about losing his seat. It's like, if he's losing his seat, it's from another factory 450 rider coming over to KTM. There's no one really coming up the pipeline on the 250s, maybe RJ Hampshire, but even that's Husky. But like, there's no one really barking at the door KTM that's going to take anyone's spot anytime soon. And that's what it feels like. I could be wrong.
No, I'd like.
One thing that I noticed too is like a lot of the facility kids. I don't think they're able to race through like adversity. Like I don't think that if things aren't extremely perfect either on the track or in like groomed and well done, or if like they're getting a little bit bullied on the track by somebody, or if like their day didn't start out like routine, something like that, like they don't really. And obviously, there's always obviously outliers, and we're not talking crap about anybody. We think we're all big fans of every racer out there. But I'm just saying, like, I think if you take somebody that's like, yeah, I did Loretta's, I'm freaking at home training in mud motos in the wintertime, like they're going to be a lot more prepared, I think, than the kid who's had like super nice prep tracks and just been throwing down 10-minute heaters, with people that the same guys every single day doing 2 nationals a year. You know what I mean? I just think that struggle.
Something that I'm thinking about right now, is thinking about the American training facility kids and their ability to just go wide open on a perfectly prepped track that is, MX Sports prep, right? There is a brand there of the way they prep their tracks. Meanwhile, the Euros, like to your point, let's say if we sent our top 10, whatever they are, American racers, and we send them to France to race MXGP, and they race MX2 or, MX Euro, dude, they're going to get decimated by guys that nobody's ever heard of. Oh. And then the Euro guys, they come over here and they all say the same exact thing. The tracks are so deep and the Americans go so fast on the first couple laps. So, I think that there's so much of God, dude, this Star Yamaha lineup is insane.
It really is.
I'm looking at the split screen and I got this ad. Anyway, point being is that there's it's just absolutely bananas. The difference between
is your ad Star Yamaha? Because I've got like a black dude spray painted on mine. Are they targeting ads?
I think they are. Yeah.
I got some dude spray painting like for like Monster, and you've got like Yamaha. I'm like, what the fuck? What?
Wow, dude. Yeah. Okay. So now hold on. What's your ad right now?
Still that same black dude spray painting shit, like the hard streets, Monster Energy.
Okay, Jackson, Kylie, what do you guys have on?
I have the YZ 125.
Oh, that's nice. What about you, Jackson?
Dude, I'm in Canada. They have like a GoPro stuck behind some fat dude in the bleeds nosebleeds. I'm just
sick.
gonna
Okay, I got
view
you.
of the.
Okay.
No, we just get like in the commercial break. We just get like a bird's eye view.
I
of the
wish.
track.
I wish.
Yeah,
I still
mine's
did
just
that.
black dude spray painting and then like Murray's hair grease, and like that's it for freaking.
Dude, that's okay. So
Dude, I used
all of
Murray's for a while.
okay.
I know you.
Dude, on Peacock, literally on Peacock, it's 3 things. I get 3 things, dude. I get heavy duty pharmaceutical ads. Okay. I get car and car insurance ads, and then delivery food ads. Like that's it.
Nice.
Like I just literally
that's America right there, baby.
Dude, yes, 3 in a row. 3 in a row. It was Paxlovid, okay, which is a medication. I'm glad that I don't even know what it is. Paxlovid, then Domino's, and then after that it was for Walgreens and COVID-19 shots. Those are my ads. And dude, it blows my mind how many AIDS medicine videos or ads I get on Peacock. Literally every single show that I watch on here has pharmaceutical ads for AIDS and HIV medication.
You might be telling us more than you want.
Kylie's laughing her ass off. She's like, Jesus.
It is what it is. I can't control it.
We'd love to camaraderie with you there, but we don't get
Yeah, dude. I don't. Oh my gosh, I'm probably going crazy in the chat. Let's check it out again, guys. Thanks for joining. I got Mr. Crutcher, Teen Creo Principal here. The lovely Kylie Kulpa, photographer extraordinaire, and of course the man behind Moto Academy, Jackson himself. Let's see. Dr. Greg's in the house. We got Tyler McAdams saying that Jeff is a genius, dude. Of course, you know. Dr. Greg's asking if we're going to be at Daytona SX. I believe I will be. Jackson will be. I think you will be as well, Mr. Crutcher.
Yeah, that's our second Supercross. We'll be there.
There you go. Kylie Kulpa, you going to be in Daytona?
No.
We'll convince her to go. We'll turn that into a yes. We'll convince her to go. Let's see. Aaron saying still Team Fried. I love it, dude. I'm there. Let's see. Ben is saying looks like it's really hard track to pass on. Everybody's fast. Starts are going to be everything tonight. I kind of think so to an extent. I do love the fact that these guys are rushing into corners and flowing. One of my favorite things. Let's see. Aaron saying that Sakadu's OnlyFans is going to blow up. Bro is packing. All right. I'm glad you think so, Aaron. I disagree, but cool. Let's see. Dr. Greg is saying, Dave, if you pulled a McAdoo in the race, would you keep racing or just let it dangle in full attack position? I'm going to have to say I'm going to have to pull off the track because, number one, my chick would kill me if I'm out there racing with my junk hanging out. Plus, you got to pay extra premium for that one. Plus, you know, I don't want it to get caught in the chain. I don't want to get caught in the rear wheel, man. I got to reel it in around the wrist and, you know, around the arm. It's just too much, dude. It's just too much. I couldn't do it. I have to like wrap it around the neck and then tie it around the. It's just too much, man. So, no, I definitely would, dude. I'm number one. I'm too shy, and number two, my chick would kill me, dude. Like if I'm just out there and you got spy footage, not happening. Not happening. So I wouldn't. Crutcher, what about you? Would you keep racing with your stuff out?
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, look at what that did for Cameron and for Maddie, and you know how much they've been being talked about. And fuck
dude,
yeah,
I feel like Crutcher's packing though. Dude's too confident. He's like, yeah, dude, like whatever, kid. I let it run, dude. I got the toolery.
And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I got a fucking hog, okay?
What about you, Jackson? You let it all hang out if you had a McAdoo situation?
It depends. Like if I have a good ribbed seat sponsor, there's no way. But I mean, if I had like, you know, just like a stock seat, I'd probably run it.
Dude, that was the first thing that I thought of is the chafing. Like, dude, imagine you know yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kylie, we're all about equality here. If your stuff hung out, would you be still riding out there? Or would you pack it in?
I don't know.
This conversation is way derailed for her.
I would say, Kylie, you'd have to pack it in, dude. You'd have to pack it in. Mm-hmm. I'm down with you. I'd pack it in. Let's see. Ben saying we got to stick to the crotchless swimwear. I don't know about that. Tyler saying he's pumped for Nicoletti. I am too. That dude is an absolute beast. I'm stoked to see that. Let's see. Aaron's saying, I want Canada's commercial break. I'm getting a retirement fund ad. Old. Yeah, we got that. Oh, man. Aaron Cole saying, Crutcher is tatted. Of course, man. Of course. And then Jack, somebody that just joined, do these guys actually stream the race? No, we cannot stream the race. We would be in big trouble, and we'd have to ask Big Daddy Crutcher to bail us out because he's a millionaire. That would not go down very well. We're on heat number 2 for the 250s. Heat number 1 saw Kitchen out front. Did not even know that dude had a co-red plate with, I think that's Smith. Smith's looking really good on the Yamaha. I'm pretty stoked to see that guy back. We also have Thrasher up front as well. And shout out to, I think it's the PRMX team with Yoder on there. Those guys have really done some cool stuff in the last couple of years, and we really appreciate the Partzilla team, Partzilla itself, partzilla.com, and Julian and the guys for really having our backs and supporting the program so well. When it comes to sharing the red plates, guys, are you going to be more in the Kitchen camp? Or are you going to be more for Smith? What are you guys thinking when it comes to all that? Oh, and we have a crash right now. I don't know how far back you guys are.
Get off of the night.
Yeah, where Thrasher looks like he is hurting right now. I don't know what happened. We're going to see it right now. Goes for the 3 and seat bounce 3 and came up short and got tossed.
Oh, dude.
Got tossed.
Okay. So he did the right thing in casing his front tire first. But the key to that is you have to match your bike to the pitch of the landing. If he, I mean, it almost looks like something happened with the shock there. Like he didn't get the right pop off of that one before it. Obviously, he was short, but he was really low too. And
I can tell you exactly what happened. It wasn't the shock. He ran out of talent.
Yeah.
God,
but yeah, like that, if he had been able to like course correct and get that front tire even lower, which might sound scary and awful, but match the pitch of the landing so that when you do front tire case, you can get that and like let the suspension do what it's supposed to and get over that hump. Otherwise, if it's not enough, then you get the bucking sensation there.
Oh, dude, that just looked really I don't want any part of that. Oh my goodness. Another question to ask you guys while we're watching Smith out front. We can get to that other question later.
Flag.
But red flag because of that. Jeez. What has been one of you guys' what's been your gnarliest crash? I want to hear from each of you. We'll start with you, Kylie. What's been your gnarliest crash to date?
It was probably, I think it was 2019. I was at Winchester and I went to start and I was on like the inside of the corner. A kid came from the outside and hit my front tire, and I fell the opposite way into another kid's bike, and he launched forward, and my body was like under the bike, but I was like crooked on top of it, and that was it. It was a separated shoulder, but that one wasn't fun.
Jeez. And she's going to be really humble, guys, but Kylie's actually fast, so she will never tell you this, but she's a really solid. Kylie, stop, shut up. I'm not listening to you. Stop shaking your head. She's actually a really good rider. Jackson, what about you, man? I
broke my wrist 2 years ago riding in the woods in Saskatchewan, up in Canada. My cousins live out there, and they just have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of square miles of single track that they've got all mapped out, and they have like little tracks through the trees every couple kilometers, you know? So you ride, you do a lot of like point A to B riding, and then you get to like a single track, you know, an actual loop. And it was just, I came over this one like kind of off camber turn and swapped ends. And it was funny because the lap before I got pretty sketchy and I was like, "Ooh, I better watch for that." And the next lap around did the same thing again, but ended up going ass over tea kettle and broke my wrist. And but the fun part was having to do the one hand drill. Shout out Moto Academy, but the one hand drill back to camp for a good half an hour ride to get back there through the trees with one hand. That was fun.
Sheesh. What about you, Crutcher?
probably the first time. It's a split. I've broken my right leg twice. The first time that I did it, it was a really nasty crash, and we were at a Loretta qualifier that they actually had at a ski hill in Iowa, which most people don't realize. Iowa actually has some pretty gnarly elevation, and they built the track on the side of the ski slope, it was a really, really cool track. And this was the first year of the RMZ 250. And the transmission on those bikes was really sketchy. And I hit a false neutral between third and fourth gear on the face of a step down where we were launching down the ski hill. And whenever I did, I just lost all my momentum and did a full front flip. And we were jumping, no joke, about 80 feet from the lip to where we were landing down. And so it was like I jumped off like a 7-story building onto my feet while moving forward. Broke my leg in 4 places on the right side, and 2 of my tibia and then 2 of my fibula. And it was so bad, and they were worried about compartment syndrome. They actually thought about cutting my leg off. So it was pretty gnarly. And I was 15 whenever that happened. Then a short while later at let's see, I was 15 whenever I did that, and then 3 years ago in 2021, just right down the road from that track at Riverside Raceway, again for another Loretta qualifier. I was on my 450 and was doing this really tight right-hander they had built a bowl around the outside that was, about waist high, and it was a really good line, but it was a white flag, and I was trying to pass up into third place, and the guy in front of me kind of stuffed the rut, and so it folded over, like the dirt folded over into the rut. And so whenever my front wheel hit it, it kind of stabbed and came back in. And my right foot, same leg, went down, and then my foot peg hit it from behind and then spun my foot all the way around backwards. And it dislocated my ankle and then broke my, I don't know, I can't remember. I think it was my tibia. It could have been my fibula. Fibula, the one in the back. So now I didn't even crash. I seat bounced. There was a little roller and then a pretty big double, and I charged out of the roller, made the pass for third, seat bounced the double, launched and looked down, and my foot, if it was supposed to be in this direction, was actually pointing more over this way. So
all set.
But like whenever I looked down, I was like, why am I pointing my foot out? And I tried turning my knee in, and then I realized, oh, my leg's broken. So just pulled right off of the track. It was right at the finish line area. It pulled off of the track and rode over to the ambulance and, beat on the window of the ambulance and told the guys like, hey, I broke my leg. And he was like, I was like, no, really, look down. He stuck his head out. My shit was backwards and the dude went white. He had never seen anything like it. So that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was whenever they took me to the local county hospital where they didn't have an anesthesiologist. And they had to get my boot off of me to make sure that I didn't sever the artery that's in the ankle, because it's essentially the ephemeral artery on the inside of your thigh. It's very similar, but the thing is if you cut it, your foot will just swell up and all the blood will just keep going downward and downward. So they wanted to make sure. Well, they gave me no option, and the guy just told me, "Hey, we're going to give you a sedative. You're not even going to know that we're going to take your boot off of you." And this is already after they gave me a pretty heroic dose of fentanyl in the ambulance on the way there, and then they gave me a double XL load of ketamine to put me under. So I deconstructed. Trying to make into a
fiend?
Damn, those doctors party, man.
Yeah, dude. So
dude, they're like, hey, bro, watch this.
So what I was going to say
Jeez.
is I deconstructed reality and found the singularity and I got caught in a loop where time didn't exist and left physical reality entirely for a couple
Oh my
hours.
gosh.
And that was the bad part, is because whenever I woke up or started to come back to, I was slipping in and out of this ketamine trip that I was on. So I couldn't tell what was reality or what wasn't. And the whole
Mm.
dude, and I actually did a podcast with Moran's right after it happened. And this is whenever I was still doing my podcast regularly. And dude, it was terrible. I mean, the whole experience, and like, I've never been drunk. I've never been high. Like, I've never done anything ever. And then they gave me fentanyl and ketamine, dude. And it was just totally from 0 to 200. And that was the worst injury that I've had because of the mental side of it. And it wasn't the injury, it was the medicine that they gave me for
Dude.
them to, yeah.
I feel you. My worst one was I tore my liver in Southwick. Like, I had a handlebar go through my side, brain bruise, severe kidney damage, and went to the doctor. But my dad would not let me take the ambulance because it was too expensive. In case you're wondering, if you have a black dad, they really don't like to spend money. And
just be happy that you got a black dad.
I know, dude. My black dad's around. Yeah, you're not throwing too hard there, Kylie. Okay.
Where do they charge for an ambulance ride?
Oh, dude, I don't even. It was gonna be something like 10K or something stupid. Like, it was like it would have been insane. So, dude, we drive them through Hartford.
Did you have insurance?
Yeah, I had insurance, dude. But it still would have been like something crazy out of pocket because we were in Mass, and our insurance was like it's something to do with like Connecticut.
Got it.
Through my dad's business, and it was like super weird. My dad's like flirting with the freaking intake nurses. But yeah, I was like 16, never drank, never smoked, still don't drink, still don't smoke, never tried drugs at all. 33, 32, whatever. And dude, I was 16. They're like, "Hey, have you ever had done weed or whatever?" I was like, "No." Like, my grandma and my whole family smokes. They're all Caribbean, but like, no. And they're like, "All right, we're gonna give you some morphine." And I'm like, "All right, cool." The minute it touched my veins, I threw up all over the nurse. And then they're like, "All right, we're going to try this again." Gave me a little bit more. And dude, I was like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. We should go on a date. I race dirt bikes. Do you like motorcycles?" Dude, I was floating. It was insane. And one of the nurses, he came in and he was like, "Hey, buddy, we think you had some kidney trauma. We might have to have you do like a urine sample." I'm like, "Just whatever you got to do. Just don't give me a catheter." That's my biggest fear. And I'm like, "I really got to pee. Can you help me out?" And so he helps me, gets out the toolery, and then he starts and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, I know it's small. I'm only 16. I'm still growing." And I was like super nervous. And it turns out I had been peeing blood without realizing it for the last half hour. And so he's like, "Dude, we got to get everyone in here now." Got rushed to the ICU and did the whole thing. But he's looking at it and he's like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "I'm still a kid. What do you want me to do?" And dude, it's filled a couple pails for him of blood, and then they ended up doing some stuff and ended up making a full recovery. But dude, that was a gnarly crash for me. It was super duper scary. Yeah, so I don't know why I still like dirt bikes, but somehow they're still a big part of my life. Go figure. Speaking of dirt bikes, finally seeing the Joe Shimoda good start in the seat number 2. We got 2 to go. Smith out front. Someone asked in the chat, what do you think Shimoda's problem has been this year? Jackson, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Kylie. What do you think the 30 on the Honda needs to do? And no, that's not AJ Catanzaro.
I don't know if there's necessarily a problem. I think he seems to finish outdoors strong, and I feel like that everybody kind of gets a false sense of oh, he'll be the guy this year in Supercross. The same thing happened 2 years ago, and then he doesn't really show that much in Supercross. I don't really think I just think he doesn't really have it. Personally, I can't remember last time watching Supercross that I was really impressed with his riding. It's just outdoors at the end of the year, he always finishes stronger. And I feel like that carries over into preseason Supercross that people are excited about him.
I think so. What do you think, Kylie?
I agree with Jackson. Like the same thing with Jet, how he went all those races and stuff, and then everyone's like, well, he's gonna win every single race at Supercross, but he hasn't won all of them. I feel like it's the same thing like that. Some are better at outdoors than they are Supercross.
Yeah, I think him, and I think we saw it with J Mart last weekend. There's definitely some skilled people when it comes to outdoors, but indoors, it looks like it could be pretty tough. It's so weird though, because I feel like Shimoda has the chops, like he has the speed. We saw how close he stayed to Smith that whole heat race, but for some reason, it's like his starts and then like his racecraft, like the push that you need to see from start to finish, sometimes isn't there. And I think he lets people kind of get in his head a little bit. And I don't know if it's like his size.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think he's got that Martin thing a little bit too, where it's just like when things get hairy on a Supercross track, he's not big enough to muscle it back to level, you know?
Exactly. He doesn't have like I'm sure he's fit, but I just don't see like that like man strength that you kind of need to like get it like back underneath you and stuff like that, you know. You need to take some lessons from Kylie, because I've seen her get kind of squirrely and somehow she always saves it. So maybe some like Kylie year-end training sessions and that it'll be fixed.
Okay.
Done deal. Team manager, team principal, team owner, team curator. What do you think is Shimoda's problem? If you were given cash to this guy and he was going to come into the Creo tent, what would be the first thing that you'd work on him with, to get his racing back in order?
You know, just talking about taking ownership over being the guy, and how he's a paid professional athlete, and this is what the job is. And I mean, I don't think that Honda brought him in for him to win immediately. And I think that for us to sit here and expect, just because it's the same bike that Hunter and Jet won on last year in Supercross, that automatically means that that Shimoda's going to be able to just hop on a winning bike and begin winning. I don't think that's it at all. Now, that doesn't excuse the mud crashes, some of the bad starts. That to me is where he's letting the pressure of the position, and the weight of being in the same truck as the Lawrence show. And that's I think that it's where he's getting that secondhand weight of the machine that we talked about earlier. He's also, I mean, another thing about it is, like, now that he's not with PC. See, the thing about PC is it's all young guys, and it's kind of like PC lately has kind of been more of a athlete development team than it has been this like juggernaut. And now he's what is, I mean, last year they were they won everything. Honda did. And the expectations, I would assume that he's feeling are that he just needs to win. And it's like, dude, he's still young. He's still new to racing. I mean, it's unfair. I think it's very unfair to expect anybody under the age of 23 years old to win a championship, unless you're racing exclusively against guys that are 19 to 23 years old. And that's I mean, look at like MX2 in Europe. There's guys over there that win all the time, but they're young, and they're racing against other young riders. And it's how hard it is to beat Jordan Smith and RJ Hampshire and Jeremy Martin and these guys that are true veterans. And he's Joe Shimoda. He's been racing motorcycles in America for 6 years?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Sorry, and to your point about adapting to the bike, like, he rode Honda before, but the Honda that he rode when he was on Team Geico is so wildly different to the Honda that they have now. So you can't even use that as like he was on Honda before, he should adapt. It's like, it's not even, it might as well be a different manufacturer. It's such a different platform.
Right. That's like saying, well, Jeff, you raced Suzuki's from 2004 to 2007 and you raced it on 85s. Hey, check out this.
That might actually count. I feel like that might be closer. That looks like Kenny's bike to me.
Kenny's 2024.
It's the same bike. Yeah.
I want to ask you, Jeff, about the machine. Like we talked a little bit right at the start of the start. I agree with you on the Lawrence fan experience being out of touch. But at the same time, and I'm not capping for either side right now. I strictly want your opinion on this. I feel like there's something to be said that, I mean, if dumb people want to spend their money on something like that, why would you not take their money on something like that?
True. Yeah, that's the thing is if anything is worth what someone is willing to spend on it. And there are people out there that are, I mean, for lack of a better way of saying it, just fanboys or fangirls. And if they have the extra cash and they want to spend it, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you're not allowed to do that. And maybe, the other thing too is maybe it's easy for us to cast judgment on it and be like, well, you're charging $2,000, to sit around in this thing that it's not even the reason that we go. We go to watch the guys ride on the track. But I think that this is a thing where it's like, it's an experience. And, millennials and Gen Z are far more interested in experience-based things than they are off of physical things. And so, the right people that are out there, I mean, you get enough of them of people that aren't in motocross. And dude, the wild part is like, okay, so like the fan experience, and this is the thing that, I've read a lot, is where like the fan experience to go to the Lawrence Brothers deal, it's $2,000. Dude, you can't even get an F1 ticket, period, for $2,000.
No.
Or not one that's worth getting. And so,
that's like practice Friday. You get is $2,000
right.
or $1,500 to $2,000 just to go watch practice on Friday. That's not your weekend pass,
right?
That starts at like 10.
So that's where it's like, well, that's in the realm of VIP packages. It's at the very bottom, but in our sport, it's a little high.
Mind blowing.
Yeah,
it really is, especially considering the fact that the Collective Experience has the best fan experience program for less than a quarter of the Jet Lawrence experience, where you guys can go behind the scenes, get rig tours, eat some food, meet your favorite riders and industry people, get connected, get thousands of dollars worth of savings and promo codes, and kickstart your career in the industry, should you so choose. TheCollectiveXP.com, at TheCollectiveX on Instagram. Let us hook you up and kickstart your dreams today.
So
sorry, boys.
If somebody offered you $2,500 for a fan experience, I mean, what are you putting out to do for them, Dave?
Oh, dude, what am I not doing? Are you kidding? $2,500. Yeah. They're getting Dave Drakes for the night, dude. Are you kidding me? I'm washing their car. I'm walking their dog, dude. Hey man, what am I wearing for the day? You let me know. Hey, I don't know Ken Roxon, but for $2,500, we're gonna get Ken Roxon. Dude, whatever you need, I'll put on the freaking ski mask. Dude,
off the trunk of your Kia, and Ken's just hogtied.
Hey, $2,500. You let me know.
Okay,
what will David do for $20? Let me show you what I will do for $2,500.
Let me get my knee pads out.
Let me get my knee pads and put my hair in a ponytail for you guys. So where you guys from? Oh, New Mexico. Oh, that's cool.
So I would say, okay, well, how about for another $500, I make you the title sponsor of Arena Cross weekend?
Say it again.
I said for another $500. Yeah, I'd make you our title sponsor for a weekend of Arena Cross.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all about you. It's fucking Dave Inc. on the side of the bike, and the gear and our social and everything is, that's what we do. And that's where, and I'm not envious of it by any means. And that's where I'm like, see, this is the crazy part is there are people out there that are willing to spend that kind of money just to sit under an awning. And I mean,
the people spending the money, I feel like it's going to be a lot of like divorced dads trying to win points with their kids. I don't think it's any kind of core.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's like, hey,
it's so true.
Do this. I don't think she does.
So
your mom's boyfriend did this.
Yeah, you're Jet signing jerseys in between conversations of him saying like, "You guys are moving to Boston. You can't move to Boston. I have to work here. I only get you every other weekend." That's what's gonna happen.
Oh my gosh, that's so true, dude.
So on that,
oh my gosh,
to that, for the St. Louis Supercross weekend, we're having a birthday party in the pits. One of our team sponsors, both his kids' birthdays, although they're like 2 years apart, both his kids' birthdays are that weekend. And I was talking to Brian and just joking. I was like, dude, like, I know you don't care about making money off of this with your business. So why don't we do it about like, why don't we have a birthday party? And he's like, that'd be badass. I was like, how about this? How about I make you the coolest dad ever, where your kids' names are on the motorcycles and the gear, and our gear says happy birthday Cade and Rowan. What do you think of that? And he was like, dude, can you imagine my fucking kids are going to come back to school after spring break and be like, their friends will be like, so what'd you do for spring break? And they're going to be like, oh, I had a Supercross team for the weekend. So I think the flexing dad thing is definitely a thing, because I can firsthand.
That's the market. That's the market to tap.
Yeah.
That should be the targeted ads that you go for, Dave. Just look up.
I really should
get together with any like family attorneys and just try to be like, hey, like as part of the goodbye package when they leave after they just lost their house and their dog, if you want to just slip in this collective experience flyer, yeah, that'd be great.
Listen, I mean, if you really want to outshine, Lawrence, your ex-wife's new husband.
Oh man.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh, I can't stop laughing.
Well, gang, I told myself I was going to make it through the heat races and do a little bit of banter after that, but I'm going to sign off. I've got some I don't get to say this very often, but I got the house to myself and a tub of gelato that I'm about to finish the races with.
Ooh, nice. There we go. I love it. Jeff Crutcher, we appreciate you, brother. We thank you for all of the support over the years. If anyone wants to follow along with you, see your content, do the whole follow along, where can they find you? What do you have coming up? Where can people start to become obsessed with Jeff Crutcher?
Hey, the most important thing is that they can follow the team, and it's all social. Just type in Creo, CREO, and that'll take you from there. You could just type in Creo. It's also a design program, but just type in Creo KTM on Google and let Google handle the rest. And we'll see you guys at, let's see, Dallas. We'll do Dallas, Daytona, Birmingham, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Boston, Nashville, Philly, and Denver. So those will be the races that we'll be at, and I'll have my three-man team of Jorgen Talviku, Tyler Gibbs, and Dawson Cobb, 250 East, and then at St. Louis and Denver, we'll be riding the 450 class. But we'll be there, and we are welcoming TCE interns. We always need extra help, and we also have a $10 Supercross buy-in program, where if you don't have thousands of dollars to be the title sponsor of the team for a weekend, you can spend $10 and take your chance. I can't say the R word, but it sounds like waffle. And it's we're just taking $10 buy-ins and selecting a random $10 sponsor, and you can buy as many sponsorships as you want, and we're literally spinning the wheel, and whoever our lucky winner is, we're going racing as you. So Jackson, if it's you and you want it to be about you, and you want us to sublimate, because we're doing that with skills, if you want us to sublimate your face on the gear this big and the side of the motorcycles, just say Jackson. That's how we're going racing. It's totally up to
Dude, love it.
Whoever wins. It was like, I'm trying to remember, I remember whatever the Navy, I believe it was, did like an online poll to name one of their ships, and the leading name of it was Bodie McBoatface. Dude, same exact thing. I don't care what it is, as long as Feld doesn't come over and give me the elbow, then that's how we're going racing. So, whatever.
When I win, it's going to be Dave Drake's and his phone number for a good time. It's going to be the butt patch. It's going to be great.
Oh no!
Oh, that'd be great.
There we go.
Dude.
Oh Lord.
So that's what we're doing, and you can find all that information off of the Creo Instagram. So
check it out, guys. Creo race team. These guys are phenomenal. If you want to sign up and hang out with these guys and be a really hard-hitting, contributing member of the team for a race day, hit us up, thecollectivexp.com. Hit up Creo. They'll point you in the right direction to us. We want to support these guys so they keep supporting us. Shout out to Jeff Crutcher and the crew. Jeff, you're the man. We appreciate you.
Sure.
It was nice to meet you, Jeff.
Yep. See you guys soon.
We'll see you in Daytona.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Daytona is going to be a fun one. That's one that everybody keeps asking about. Jackson, we have some cool things that I think are planned up for that one. It is not my favorite race. I will be honest with you. The track's awesome, but I am not a Daytona fan, man. I am not a big fan of gross Daytona.
I don't doubt it.
It's such a weird vibe.
It's always bike week, and
it gets
that
grody.
attracts a certain crowd that that Dave, I understand your nervousness around that.
Dude.
You got to just surround yourself with the whites. If you guys want to find Jeff at a race, if you're at a race and if you want to find Jeff to meet him in that, he'll be sticking a banana in the tailpipe of the Lawrence Semi.
100%. Oh gosh, Kylie, you don't get to many races throughout the year, which I've been telling you for years to get to more races. If you could pick out which one you think would be your favorite race to go to for the during the year, which one would it be?
Supercross or outdoor?
Supercross.
Probably Daytona.
Oh, good Lord. Come on, Kylie. The race is cool, but I mean, people don't think about this, but like every time you go to a race, like it's like the flight. Plus, you got to find a decent hotel. Then you got to find food. Then you got to Uber, and dude, it's such a big thing. But at Daytona, it is the absolute worst. You can't find a decent hotel anywhere in Daytona because they don't exist. Finding Ubers are crazy expensive, and they're all janky and weird. You're gonna have to stay in Orlando and then get a rental car and drive in. It's a whole thing. It's just a whole gross thing. So you should definitely change your answer to like St. Louis or Indy, because those are the easiest.
Anaheim.
Kylie, tell us about your world a bit, because the Team Moto Academy really wants to do a J Day this year. So you got to tell us, if you had a group of hooligans that want to just come do a race, AJ's probably going to get in a fight, which is the one to do?
So are you looking for the rowdiest one?
Pardon?
Are you looking for like the rowdiest one?
Oh no, I was just kidding. We did a pit bike race this last fall. It couldn't help it, but piss a bunch of people off. So we're just assuming that it's going to happen again.
Okay.
When AJ and I were talking to the pod, and you called me and you're like, "Listen, I just want to set something straight." It didn't take 15 minutes for him to. It was just immediate. Dude, I almost cried. Dude. I was just like, oh, no, he didn't defuse it. It was. Do you know who I am?
Dude,
Oh
these
gosh.
live streams are gonna get me fired. Kylie, tell us a J-Day to come do. I want to do a J-Day. I love like that kind of riding is like single track. I'm not a very good moto guy. I like moto, but I'm not very good. I'm better at like the single track stuff. So like J-Day sounds amazing.
Okay, so we have this year 3 Southwick races. Southwick is probably one of the easier ones, but it's super busy. Then there's Hemans that gets really rowdy at night. This past year, across from us, someone's tent got caught on fire because they were shooting like fireworks at them, like driving by. So it caught on fire, and that was at midnight. And then there's like a party down at the end, and that got broken up. But that one's usually really rowdy. And like we had Zach Osborne come this year to that one. And then the year prior, Cooper Webb was there. Unadilla is pretty fun because that's a double weekend. And this year it will be Verb Moto will be there again.
Cool.
But definitely.
So what's the one? What would you say is the one? Which one do you look forward to the most?
Hemans, but I get scared at night.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Like just in general, you get scared at night, or just at that race? Instead of like
just that race.
Okay.
Yeah, Kylie, she's perpetually scared at night
too, but it's for completely different reasons.
Yeah. Those are fun. A couple years ago,
my gosh.
To the I forget what it was called, but they would have guys like do a whip competition, but they stopped doing that last year. They might come back. I'm unsure, but that one's usually fun at night.
Yeah. I will say J-Day is a good time. Southwick J-Day is super cool. I'm a big fan of that one.
Not this past year though. That was awful.
No, that was underwater. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's definitely not my thing. Shout out, by the way, to Kylie. You won an award at the banquet, didn't you? For videography or for photography. Shout out to Sergio Limited, Billy Freeman, got one as well. That guy's making amazing content. And he's a big supporter of the program. And he also has a room in my house, so gotta shout that guy out.
Where are you located, Kylie?
Every house I move to has like a Billy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what town are you from, Kylie?
Tolland.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're not far. I'm Enfield, so not too super close to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jackson's the only one that doesn't live in Connecticut, but hopefully we can get him to move there.
I can't afford, dude. If out
of all the places in the States,
yeah. If a friggin' if an ambulance is $10,000, I'm good, buddy. I love that, dude. I'm calling me an Uber. I am not, dude. I didn't know that. I knew like hospital
holding your guts.
Uber X. Not pool, please.
Not pool.
Yeah.
Dude, it's gnarly.
Yeah, dude. I knew the hospital stays were nuts, but I didn't know the ambulance. Jesus, you guys get it together,
dude. If you have to get life starred, it's insane. If I ever crash and I see that helicopter coming, I'm no, dude. I'm like, put me in the back of a pickup, and yeah, exactly. Let's get the duct tape. Like, no, send that thing back, dude. Oh my goodness, dude! It's absolutely gnarly. That whole thing is, oh my gosh. Let's see. We're gonna go back to the chat and see what all the craziness is. Let's see. Grant's mom Jessica in the chat. What's up? Let's see. Jackson, does your boss? Let's see. Does your boss? You think Florida is America's toilet? Oh, does your boss think? Did your boss know that you think Florida is America's toilet?
What do you think? I think they feel the same way. Like they like Florida, but they like the gated community Florida that they're in. As soon as we're like outside of that, they're like, this place is weird.
Jeez. Oh man, miss you too, Jess. Shout out to the Eckharts. Those guys are salt of the earth. Those guys are awesome. Let's see. I was wondering who has been leading all the hate on Lawrence fans. Mastermind Jeff, says Ben. That's funny. Let's see. Salt Lake City has some of the best fans and atmosphere, says Aaron. I hate Vegas, but those were great too. Gotta say, yeah, I dig that. Ben Weigel, Jamie will choke out anyone trying to fight AJ. Night in the rear naked chokehold.
Yeah,
Oh man, that's hilarious.
His heart monitor was going off for like 20 minutes after the confrontation, and there wasn't even a confrontation. Like it was 5 guys with 4 teeth between them yelling at us about trying to take their money at a pit bike race.
Dude, AJ tells that story so much differently. He's like, and I was just being calm, and I put my hand on his shoulder. And then when you called me, you're like, yeah, that whole thing was bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too good. That's so good. Oh man. Woo. Let's see. Saw my guy D Drake's J Hop show. Oh, shout out to you. Let's see. You're the only brown guy to ever be on that, probably. Oh man, that's funny. So yeah, Bunny Man in the house. Shout out Bunny Man saying that he saw me on the Johnny Hopper show. Probably the first and last black guest that they're gonna have on. Oh, by the way, I was talking to somebody and they were like, "Hey, when you guys went to Pastrana's house, does that make you like the first black dude to ever backflip at Pastrana Land?" And I'm like, "No, I asked him, and he said I was number 5." And he goes, "Holy shit, he keeps count." And I was like, "Yeah, why the hell is he keeping count, dude?" I was like, "Yeah, why is that? Why is he trying to keep in track?" It's like once he hits 10, that's the limit.
Yeah.
Son of a dude! I just forgot something super important.
You're just walking into a get out situation.
Dude, that's the story of my life, dude. It's always a get out situation. Dude, you've seen the girls I date.
Yeah.
I forgot to pick my fantasy team this weekend, dude. I saw Chisholm
last week.
Dude, I couldn't pick because Detroit doesn't let you gamble apparently, and apparently that's gambling. So or like bet or whatever. So when I went to go log in, and it wouldn't let me log in, which is stupid. But yeah, so I saw Chiz and I was like, oh crap, dude, he's like my fantasy hero because he's always saves me on points.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, so
are they doing the same thing again tonight where it's the 250s mains will race first?
I think so.
What do you think of that switch? Like
I think
I understand if it's being broadcast live on TV that if somebody's tuning in for the first time sees Supercross and then sees the 250s first, it's not as good.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. From a watching standpoint, I wanted to go home last weekend early, so the fact that I got to watch the 450s and then be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to get out of here before it gets really gnarly. And yeah, I literally watched from the hotel room.
That's kind of your move.
That was kind of nice.
If you guys sign up for the Dave Drake's collective experience, that's what it is. He takes you to the race, and then as soon as Heat 1 is over, he's like, "I'll be back in the room. You guys can come if you want, but
you guys come if you want to." Dude, it's just once it's like cold and miserable and like thinking about how trying to find an Uber in the middle of downtown Detroit, like they weren't all winners and to begin with in the morning. I was like, yeah, I'm all set. I'm good. I can leave now. Oh man. But I'm pretty stoked because we're going to have Kylie come out to Philly. She's going to do the experience. We're super stoked. Kylie's going to be officially indoctrinated into the collective. So I'm really stoked that she's going to be a part of it with us. Kylie, what is one thing that you're super stoked about for the experience? Because this will be like your first time doing it.
Meeting people. I like meeting people.
Gotcha. That's a good
slammed.
one. Dude, yeah, I just saw Short just got rocked in the
that's bad.
Yeah, but Kylie, that's
Short's going to be meeting some new people in about 5 minutes. There's no way he remembers anything right now. Kylie, I would love if you could do me a favor and look at the Moto Academy website when you get a chance and take a look at our tour dates because we always need photos taken at our classes.
Yeah.
So if there's any that are in your area, it would be fantastic if you could go help the boys out.
There's one at 508 International.
Yep.
I don't know when that is, but
it's in a couple months, I think. I don't think it's anytime soon.
if it's
but
on a
that would be
race
awesome.
weekend, I couldn't. But if it's not,
Right, of course.
I used to train.
No,
with
most of our classes are on like a weekday because the tracks are open for the public on the weekend. They don't like losing out that profit. So most of our classes are weekends or weekdays.
Probably do that.
That would be
I
awesome.
know Grant too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Kylie's
May
really good
20th
when it comes
is
to photos.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I
All
will
right,
say Kylie
well-
is very, very skilled.
I'm gonna have to hop
When it
off,
comes to
Dave.
that.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, we're actually done after the 450 LCQs. So with that, we're gonna wrap her up right there. Guys, don't forget if you want to go behind the scenes at a pro race near you, get into the industry, make some solid connections that could last you a lifetime. We've had people come on board and get hooked up with sponsorships, get hooked up with gigs. Over 80% of our interns get full-time gigs in the industry from things like mechanic support or lead mechanics, crew chiefs, gear industry people and personnel. I mean, you name it, people working for Feld. The list goes on and on and on. One of our alumni just got hired by Feld as a coordinator for a lot of their extracurricular programs at the races. And we've continued to help support people on the way. Once you're in the family, you're always in the family. Check out thecollectivexp.com. Sign up. You guys get promo codes. You guys get savings. You guys get more swag than I think I have the right to even give away half the time. And don't forget to use the promo code Moto Academy at checkout so that you guys can save big on your experiences. We're going to be doing some really cool takeovers at the races. Arlington, we're going to be partnering up with the Moto Babe, and she's going to be taking you guys through the ins and outs of the program and what it's like to get behind the scenes itself. The Collective EX on Instagram, we're super excited about the program for this year, and we're going to be doing some big things, as always, partnering with Jackson and the crew over at the Moto Academy, since they're like family to us. And be sure to check out what these guys have going on. Jackson, anything cool you want to plug and tell the people about for the Moto Academy?
We've got some pretty huge things coming down the pipeline that I can't say right now, but within a month everybody will know, and they're very big, and we're very excited. Get inside the Moto Academy, join our little community. We're starting to do more and more community sided events, which I think is going to be a big deal. We've got not just the classes that are touring constantly, but AJ's in Florida right now, and poor Cade. Dude, Cade cannot catch a break this year.
He can't, dude, and he falls in the most extravagant ways.
Dude, and like the first race, he held Hunter out of the main event, and everyone's like, "Damn, look at Cade now!" And then he just has the most extravagant crashes. We've got some cool things coming, and the community side, the ride day kind of family-oriented community that we're building is really starting to come to fruition, and the stuff that we're going to be able to do. So that's really exciting. Myself, just working for Moto Academy, and I got a beer league game in 2 hours that I got to get ready. The Misfits are on a 2-game winning streak against the Ducks, and we're gonna crank those fools. So pretty excited about that.
Oh my goodness.
That's about it. That's about it, buddy.
For you. I'm rooting for you, buddy. Kylie, if people want to follow along with you and all of your amazing images and what you have going on for the year, where can we follow along? Where can we become obsessed with Kylie, and where can we continue to keep cheering you on?
You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, 18 photos spelled out. That's it.
And we are going to link her below. And don't believe a word she says. She's a great rider. She's just super humble. We're not going to believe her. If she says that she's not good, just tell her to shut up, and she'll do a wheelie or something right by you. Guys, we want to thank you again. Shout out to our sponsors, FXR Moto, Flow Vision Goggles, Overshare Advice and Planning, Speed and Sport Adventures, Evan Power Coolant, and so many more that are listed below. We thank them so much. And we appreciate you guys tuning in, following along with us. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to share with your friends. We want to get our follower counts up so that we can do more for you guys. The more support we get, the more we want to give back to you guys. Check it out, and we will see you guys on the next one. We'll cut it off right there.
Bye.
Nice.